Hello, ladies and gents, and welcome to the INB show with your host, Slam Stapleton. I am your host, Slam Stapleton, and today we'll be discussing something that I kind of thought would, unfortunately, somewhat happen. It's a tale as old as time with the likes of Mixer or, I don't know, Google Plus or whatever. When a company tries something that they're not necessarily all that into, they try to diversify and all that, they tend to screw themselves and tend to overpromise and underdeliver when it comes to certain things, and Spotify is no different. Now, I'm not going to say that I'm a huge business, freak or whatever, but I gotta say, I do follow a lot of business-related stuff. I mostly gravitate more toward the business side of news and what businesses tend to do and all that. I don't know, that's just my thing. Sue me, I'm a nerd or whatever. But anyway, apparently, Spotify, in the last year or two or a couple years, decided to invest $500 million into their podcasting, stuff. Like their podcasting arm, their reach and all that, because a lot of people decided to make podcasts as of, the COVID pandemic and all that. And they signed some very big names to their podcasting arm, like, for instance, Joe Rogan, who I don't necessarily watch, but I know he's like the biggest podcaster of all time. Caller Daddy, I know she's pretty big too. That podcast is huge, and that's owing exclusively to Spotify as well. Harry and Meghan Markle have also signed on to be podcasters and make their own little podcasts on Spotify and all that. I'm not going to go into that. And apparently Barack and Michelle Obama have also signed on to be, podcasters on the podcasting realm. So Spotify has been doing a lot of big, heavy lifting when it comes to podcasters and the podcast realm, trying to, become the home for podcasts. And I know, because I listen to Spotify a lot, they really put a big emphasis on their podcasts and all that. And a lot of them also happen to have video, so you can also watch as well as listen to these podcasts, that's very interesting. It's very interesting, especially with Joe Rogan and all that. I don't know, I just saw some articles saying, you can watch stuff or whatever, so I was like, oh, okay. But anyway, though, apparently, even though they were going to invest $500 million into their podcasting arm, apparently it ballooned to over $1 billion, and they are apparently losing money when it comes to all these podcasts and stuff and all that. And why is that, you may ask? Well, that's because even though, you get a lot of people to listen to the podcasts and all that, or you get a lot of people to, get onto your app to, I guess, listen to music, listen to podcasts and all that, it's not working. And I believe what this tends to do is, you get commercials, right? You get commercials for these podcasts and all that type of stuff. But unfortunately, a lot of people tend to, pay for Spotify. Like, at least half of Spotify users actually pay for it, so they don't have to listen to the ads, which isn't necessarily what they want to happen. But also, podcasters tend to, and especially the bigger podcasters like Joe Rogan and Caller Daddy, I think, they tend to have ads from their podcasting companies, like specifically, not Spotify. Spotify doesn't stream the commercials. It's actually the podcasting people, and it goes almost directly to like the podcasters themselves, which is good for the creators, but bad for the company itself because they are just hemorrhaging money and they can't get a lot of their revenue that they promised to their shareholders, so they've had to axe they had to lay off like a ton of people due to this. And apparently, to recentify the situation, Spotify has axed 10 original shows since last year and announced it will be restructuring its podcast division in January. And it's going to cut 600 jobs with 200 staff layoffs in June. And Spotify mutually agreed to cancel the $20 million exclusive deal for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's podcast Archetypes in June after just one season, probably because no one was listening to it, but I'm not going to really do that anyway. And Spotify also parted ways with the Obamas. But they clung on to the Joe Rogan Experience because it has 11 million listeners per episode. So yeah, I would say, yeah, you have to keep that, keep that type of thing. But the reports have said that the $200 million deal with Joe Rogan could come to an end in 2024, something that Spotify has denied. But yeah, it's getting kind of interesting here. Yeah, so not a big shock. If this is the type of thing that companies are tending to do, they're tending to, really just spend a lot of money when it comes to one specific thing that they have no idea how to really invest in it. They're just throwing money at the problem and trying to get, trying to see if money will fix it. See if money will, grow their arms and outreach and all that, but it doesn't work out that way a lot of the times. So then they start taking it out on the creators and all that and just stop making this stuff. Spotify, at least this time, is kind of working in the best interests. As of now, who knows, they could start charging creators certain things that they don't necessarily want to do or use or whatever, But yeah, I think they're making the best decisions possible. I don't like necessarily, firing people and laying off others and all that type of stuff, but I mean, I don't necessarily enjoy, creators having to pay out either. I'm not saying that they're doing that right now. They are in fact not doing that, but yeah, I mean, it's a sad thing. The only thing that I can say here is if you are to do any of this, which I'm fairly certain no big company people will be listening to my little spiel here, but I just gotta say, do your research. And I know you do like a ton of research anyway, but instead of throwing money at the problem trying to make it better, do some research and make educated decisions. Don't just throw money at the issue and just say, oh hey, we gotta get on this podcast train right now because podcasts are in, we gotta do it now. Don't do that. Do something, just make creative and good decisions that will help you in the long run rather than just the short run. That's what a lot of companies tend to do these days, which is kind of disappointing. But anyway though, guys, what do you think about all this? Is Spotify doomed or anything like that? Why don't you guys let me know what you think in the comments down below. And hey, don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell. More vids coming your way, and hey, take care, guys.